Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Providence, where we love beyond belief. We welcome you, whoever you are, whomever and however you love, and whatever you may or may not believe. My name is Cindy Baptiste, and I will be your worship associate today. A special welcome to those of you joining us remotely from wherever you may be, nearby or far away. During the summer, while our ministers are away, the worship committee hosts a series of services which are led by church members or friends, with music also provided by church members and friends. This morning, we are pleased to have Peter Van Erp as our speaker. Peter is a Rhode Island School of Design graduate working as an architect in solo practice with an office in Providence. He has been an enthusiastic waterfire volunteer since 1997 and is a boat captain with the Providence Riverboat Company. He and his wife, Chiara Romano, have lived in Providence since 1983, and they have a son, Paolo, and a daughter, Marilyn. He has been a member of First Unitarian Church since the mid-90s. We extend our thanks to our musicians this morning, Claire Rosenbaum and Janice Acuna.
Baptism of fire, I never knew what that meant, but now the flames are rising higher. I guess I haven't seen anything yet, because it's coming down around me, and I am rising up like a phoenix from the ashes, wings across the blue. The only way out is through. Forest of fury, kindling of fear. Oh, see how dark the woods have grown after all these years, and how they're coming down around me, and I am rising up like a lily from the shadows, glistening and perfumed. The only way out is through. All the detours taken never lead you home. What a maze you find yourself in, and still alone. Oh, you thought it should be easy, so the truth eluded you. The only way out is through. Baptism of fire, all happening within. Illusions burn like tall grass in
Good morning. This is the time in our service where we take a moment to greet each other. Maybe go speak to someone you don't know so well.
Please remember to turn about and give a wave to those joining us from afar. Let us now center our hearts and minds as we begin our worship together. Please join me in the words of our chalice lighting as printed in your order of service. This light burns also in our hearts and lights our path towards harmony and justice for all.
Please join me in reading the covenant of this church. Whether you're a member or not, you're welcome to participate. We, the members of First Unitarian Church of Providence, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with the wonder at the light we know by many names, and with gratitude for our deep connection to each other and to the larger web of existence, covenant to walk together in our search for truth, seeking the paths of wisdom, compassion, and justice. Our readings today are from Dante's Divine Comedy in the translation by Mark Musa. This is from Canto 1 of the Inferno. Midway along the journey of our life, I woke to find myself in a dark wood, for I had wandered from the straight path. How hard it is to tell what it was like, this wood of wilderness, savage and stubborn. The thought of it brings back all my old fears. A bitter place. Death could scarce be bitterer. But if I would show the good that came of it, I must talk about things other than the good. This is from Canto 9 of the Purgatorio. Reader, you see how lofty is my theme. You should not be surprised if now I try to match its grandeur with more subtle art. Close to the top, we reached a point from where I saw a gate. It first appeared to be merely a gap, a break within the wall, and leading up to it there were 3 steps, each one a different color, and I saw the silent figure of someone on guard. I slowly raised my eyes and saw that he was sitting on the highest steps, his face too splendid for my eyes. I looked away. And in his hand he held a naked sword, so dazzling were the rays reflected there. Each time I tried to look, I could not see. He said to us, "Speak up from where you are. What is it that you want? Where is your guide? Beware, you may regret your coming here." "A while ago, a lady sent from heaven acquainted with such matters," said my guide, "told me, 'Behold the gate. You must go there.'" "May she continue guiding you to good," the courteous keeper of the gate replied, "and so come forward now up to our stairs." We reached the steps. White marble was the first, and polished to the glaze of a looking glass, I saw myself reflected as I was. The second one was deeper, dark than purse, of rough and crumbling fire-corroded stone, with cracks across its surface, length and breadth. The third one, lying heavily at the top, appeared to be of flaming porphyry, red as the blood that spurts out from a vein. Upon this step, the angel of the Lord rested his feet. He sat upon the sill, which seemed to be of adamantine rock. Up the 3 steps, my master guided me benevolently, saying, "Ask him now, in all humility, to turn the key." Falling devoutly at his holy feet, in mercy's name I begged to be let in, but first of all, 3 times I smote my breast, when with his sword he traced upon my brow the scars of 7 P's. "Once entered here, be sure you cleanse away these wounds," he said. Ashes or earth, when it is dug up dry, was the color of the robe he wore. He reached beneath them and drew out 2 keys. One key was silver and the other gold. First, he applied the white one, then the yellow. With that, the gate responded to my wish. Whenever either one of these 2 keys fails to turn properly inside the lock, the angel said, the road ahead stays closed. One is more precious, but the other needs wisdom and skill before it will unlock, for it is that one which unties the knot. I hold these keys from Peter, who advised, admit too many rather than too few, but if they cast themselves, admit too many rather than too few, if they but cast themselves before your feet. Then pushing back the portal's holy door, enter, he said to us, but first be warned, to look back means to go back out again. Please rise as you are able and join in singing hymn number 1008 from the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we find the presence in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place.
We have this book at the back of the church by a candle which sits on a pedestal provided by our partner church in Transylvania. From George McCann, Joe McCann. Candle of remembrance for my dad, Bob McCann. Grandpa Bob would have turned 80 today. From Zach Metger. I'm blessed to be part of a community that has taken such good care of me during my slow recovery from an aborted stroke in mid-July, bringing me delicious meals, giving me rides, paying me visits, and checking in. Thank you all. I love you, Zach. And a candle lit for all the joys and sorrows unspoken in our hearts. Indeed, holding the joys and sorrows of our community together makes all the difference.
Now is our time for meditation and silent prayer. I would like us to try something a bit different, a discursive meditation on a single word. Please join me in fourfold breath. A fourfold breath is breathe in 4 beats, hold 4 beats, breathe out 4 beats, hold 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will repeat this 4 times in silence, counting off with my fingers. The word I would like us all to meditate on is virtue. Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per una selva oscura che la diritta via era smarrita. Ahi quanto a dir qual era e cosa dura questa selva selvaggia ed aspra e forte, che nel pensier rinnova la paura. Tante amara che poche più morte, ma per trattar da ben che vi trovai, dirò le altre cose che vi ho scorte. Midway along the journey of our life, I woke to find myself in a dark wood, for I had wandered off from the straight path. How hard it is to tell what it was like, this wood of wilderness, savage and stubborn. The thought of it brings back all my old fears. A bitter place. Death could scarce be bitterer. But if I would show the good that came of it, I must talk about things other than the good. 3 years ago, Chiara and I went to Italy to visit her family. Since I was well past midway on the journey of my life, it was long past time that I read Dante's Divine Comedy, and so I did on the trip. We visited Chiara's family in Turin, then went to Venice for a few days, and took the opportunity to visit the Scrovegni Chapel in Padova near Venice. The Scrovegni Chapel contains a fresco cycle by Giotto, completed around 1305, which includes panels showing the 7 virtues and the 7 vices. On my return trip to the US, I was obliged to spend several days in Dublin. Yeah, I know, tough, right? And I came upon an exhibition by the artist Liam O'Brien of 100 lithographs inspired by the 100 cantos of the Divine Comedy. I didn't realize it when I chose the book, but 2021 was the 700th anniversary of the death of Dante. The Divine Comedy was written by Dante in the years between 1307 and 1321. He'd been on the losing side of the war within Florence, whether the city should align with the Pope or with the Holy Roman Empire, and he was exiled under penalty of death in 1302. For the rest of his life, he would live in various cities in the north of Italy under the patronage of noble families. The Divine Comedy is a narrative poem of 14,233 lines in 100 cantos, divided into 3 cantiche: Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. Dante recites his journey through hell, purgatory, and paradise, beginning on the eve of Good Friday in the year 1300 and finishing on the Wednesday after Easter. In the opening canto, as Dante is lost in the woods and threatened by wild beasts, the poet Virgil appears. Virgil has been tasked with leading Dante through the underworld so that Dante may tell of what he has seen there and perhaps lead others to better paths forward. Dante, despite his unworthiness for task, follows Virgil to the entry into hell beneath Jerusalem, and they pass under the famous inscription, Lasciate ogni speranza voi che entrate, which is, abandon any hope, you who enter here. The poets first pass through the vestibule to hell, the abode of those who are unable to choose whether to condemn or to support evil, and are carried across the Acheron by Charon, the ferryman. The first circle of hell is limbo, reserved for the unbaptized and the virtuous among the pagans. There they endure, unable to enter paradise, but not condemned to the tortures of hell. To enter hell itself, the poets pass by Minos, who sends the souls to their proper place in hell. The next 4 circles are reserved for those unable to control their sins: the lustful, the gluttonous, the spendthrift and hoarders, and the wrathful. As they pass through each circle, Virgil identifies many of those condemned there. Paris and Helen of Troy among the lustful, various notables of Florence among the gluttonous, and so forth. They arrive at the river Styx at the limit of the 4th circle, the boundary between upper and nether hell. From the city of Dis, a ferry is sent to bring the poets across the Styx, and they pass by the flaming walls and enter the city. Once inside the walls of Dis, they enter the nether circles of hell. The next circles are for those who have committed violence. First, the heretics who have sinned directly against God. Then those who have attacked God's creations. They've attacked their neighbors or themselves or the earth itself. It may come as no surprise that Dante encounters many of his fellow Florentines here. Coming now to the great barrier and waterfall, the poets are carried across on the shoulders of a monster to the 8th and 9th circles, the circles of fraud. As the varieties of fraud are many, each circle is divided into many subdivisions. In the 8th circle of simple fraud, there are no fewer than 10. flatterers, thieves, sowers of discord among them. After a long discourse with a friend from Florence, in the circle of falsifiers, the poets arrive at the deep well at the very bottom of hell. Here are the traitors. Traitors to their rulers, to their guests, to their country, and last, traitors to their own kin. Those traitors are icebound, frozen forever in the lair of Cocytus in the 10th circle. At the very center of the lake is Lucifer, unable to move, but devouring endlessly the souls of Judas and Brutus and Cassius. The poets scramble down the vast hairy body of Lucifer to the very center of the earth, turn about, and begin their arduous climb back up. On the dawn of Easter, the third day of their journey, the poets find themselves on the shore of the island of Purgatory. Like hell, Purgatory is divided in 10. The first 2 terraces are occupied by those who have fallen from grace. First the excommunicated, then those who have repented only at the last moments. They will wait here until allowed to enter Purgatory. Their time in the ante-purgatory can be reduced by the prayers of the living, and so Dante is besieged by requests for prayer from those he had known before. St. Peter's Gate, the enter to Purgatory proper, lies between the 2nd and 3rd levels, guarded by an angel with the keys of St. Peter. Once admitted through the gate, the penitents are entrusted with a task of clearing the habits of mind which lead to sin. The angel inscribes 7 P's on Dante's forehead and then unlocks the gate for the poets. P is for peccato, which is Italian for sin. The next 3 cornices are for those who have loved the harm of their neighbors, the proud burdened by the heavy stone of their pride, then the envious with eyes sealed, and those consumed by wrath, obscured by smoke. The cornices are narrow and the climb between steep, but the poets continue. And on each cornice, the angel of the cornice sweeps a wing over Dante, effacing a P from his forehead. The 4th cornice is for those whose sin is sloth, not only physical sloth, but also the mental sloth which tolerates evil, and they run without pause. Next, the poets pass the covetous, the gluttonous, and then on to the 7th level, cornice, the lustful. Thus, the poets arrive at the final level, the earthly paradise, with a record of his sins swept from Dante's forehead. Traversing the wall of fire into the earthly paradise, Dante finds that Virgil, his task done, has returned to limbo. Henceforth, Dante will be guided by the spirit of Beatrice, whom he has loved since he saw her at 9 years old. She wed another and died at only 23. Together, they traverse the river Lethe, where Dante is cleansed of the memory of his sins. At the center of the earthly paradise, Dante drinks from the river of good remembrance, and he is able to gaze into paradise. He and Beatrice rise up together into a vast light as they enter the realm of paradise. Paradise is also divided in 10, and they enter the sphere of the moon, where abide the souls of those inconstant in their vows. The following spheres are those of Mercury, for those tainted by ambition, and Venus, with those whose love is near madness. Following is the paradise of the sun, with the circle of lights of learning, introduced by St. Thomas Aquinas. And the 5th paradise of Mars, with the warriors from God, among whom are Dante's ancestor, Cacciaguida, who urges Dante to reveal what he has learned in his journey. They rise up to the paradise of Jupiter of justice, then to Saturn, the final paradise where the souls of the contemplatives rest. In the eighth circle, getting out of the physical realm, Dante is examined by Saints Peter and James and is blinded for a time. Saint Peter angrily denounces the current pope. And then Dante and Beatrice rise to the level of the prima mobile. Reflected in Beatrice's eyes, Dante catches a glimpse of God. They rise into the empyrean beyond time and space, and the angels fade away as Beatrice's beauty blinds Dante once more. He recovers his sight to be granted a vision of the white rose on which are enthroned the blessed. Beatrice has joined them, near to the Virgin Mary. The Virgin grants Dante's prayer, and he is able to gaze upon the threefold God. He cannot tell us what he saw there, only his joy at having surrendered to the love of God. We have now taken a brief trip with Dante, and we can head off to the exhibition in Dublin. The entire work, from the gates of hell on, was memorable, but I was transfixed by one of the images. I left with the catalog, and as soon as I got home, I contacted Mr. O'Brien and ordered a print of the lithograph of Canto 9 of the Purgatorio. It has been hanging where I can see it every day ever since. As you heard earlier, falling devoutly at his holy feet, in mercy's name I beg to be let in, but first of all, 3 times I smote my breast. Then with his sword he traced upon my brow the scars of 7 P's. Once entered here, be sure you cleanse away these wounds, he said. The 3 times Dante smites his breast are the 3 steps of penitence: confession, contrition, and satisfaction. Then the angel inscribes on his forehead the 7 P's of pride, of envy, of wrath, of sloth, of greed, of gluttony, and of lust. At this point in the poem, Dante goes from observer to participant. Before, he had seen the truly evil passing for all times the tortures of the Inferno. From here, Dante joins the other penitents as they climb the vast mountain of Purgatorio in order to be cleansed of his own sins. It is only by completing that journey that Dante is able to tell us of the journey to repentance which he has taken. As I look on this lithograph, I know, of course, that's exactly what Dante looked like. It is also a self-portrait by the artist Liam O'Brien, allowing the world to witness his own sins. So every morning, as I eat my breakfast, Mr. O'Brien and Dante remind me to strive so that I will not have my sins inscribed on my forehead for all to see. I would like to finish with thanks to the late Dorothy L. Sayers, whose notes on the Divine Comedy are what have made my talk today possible. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1046 from the Teal hymnal, Shall We Gather at the River. Shall we
We now invite you to join in the spirit of love and generosity as the offering for the mission and vision of this church is now gratefully received. As always, thank you for all that you give, all that you do, and all that you are. We are all invited to work with the World Affairs Committee on UU the Vote. Please stop by the first parlor after the service to learn more about the postcard campaign to encourage voter turnout this fall. There's also a link in Friday's First U Times. Volunteer writers can pick up packets of postcards, and contributions toward the cost of stamps are welcome. Our goal is 1,000 postcards. We can do this. Our services next Sunday will be led by Evan Smith regarding self-deception beyond the veil of comfort. We look forward to seeing you then. Be sure to check the First U Times, our weekly newsletter that is the single source for news, events, and everything that is happening at First Unitarian. The First U Times is sent by email to all members, friends, and others who sign up to receive it. You can access it and sign up through our church website or fill out a guest registry form at the welcome table in the meeting house.
Please join us in the words of our chalice extinguishing as printed in your order of service. We carry the flame of peace and love and hope until we meet again.